It's safe to say many of our residents are familiar with the German Coast Farmers Market. They draw hundreds of folks to their Saturday market in Destrehan each week.
We are providing fresh, local produce to our community and have been doing that. We're in our 21st year. Thank you.
And the market isn't just catering to the East Bank. Every Wednesday, the market's vendors set up at the West Bank Bridge Park from noon to 5 p.m., weather permitting, to give residents an opportunity to experience all the market offers midweek.
On any given Wednesday, we're lucky enough to have a farmer with his homegrown products, his farm-grown products, and we also have home-cooked meals, meaning these ladies work in restaurants and different other venues, but they come out here on Wednesdays from 12-ish to 5-ish. It depends on the crowd, but if you come between those hours, you will find someone here.
The German Coast Farmers Market is we're here for the people. We're here for the community to come in, and different communities to come in and sample our products, our vegetables, our honey, and our hot food, prepared foods. We have it all.
It's an experience like no other. The market allows consumers to not only interact with the vendors on a more intimate level, but they also can get consumers more bang for their buck, not only through this direct sale process, but also through great programs like the market's SNAP and Senior Market Coupon initiatives.
Let's say I want $20 worth of produce and honey, and I know that, so I'm going to ask for $20 worth of tokens. So we're going to swipe your SNAP card and give you $20 worth of tokens from your SNAP card, from the government. And then we're going to have a different kind of token that we're going to give you from United Way, $20 worth. And then with Grow the Good,
Good evening and welcome to the St. Charles Parish Council meeting on Monday, February 10th, 2025 at 6 p.m. in the council chambers in the Parish Courthouse. Please silence all electronic devices and remove all hats. This meeting is called to order with a prayer and a pledge of allegiance from Pastor Alice Boutte with New Life Community Church in Luling. Push the button. It's there. Thank you all for inviting me to join and guide you in prayer on this important night of your meeting. Let us pray. God, our Creator, Redeemer, and Sustainer, guide this meeting so that the people can see by the light of the faith that we all profess, that we may check in ourselves all ungenerous judgments, all presumptuous claims. Grant these people grace that they may reverently use their freedom to make decisions that maintain liberty and justice to all. Grant them your grace to hasten new understandings so they can love your people and walk with them. In your fire, with your spirit, embolden and commission them to serve your people. Open their hearts and minds to the power of your Spirit to guide their thoughts, their words, and their actions, that they may bring tribute of excellence to the treasury of common humanity. Through Jesus Christ our Lord. And all people present say, Amen. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you, Pastor Bucci. Approval of the minutes. A motion and a second is needed to approve the minutes from the regular meeting of January 27th, 2025. We have a motion by Councilwoman Wilson, second by Councilwoman Skiba. Please cast your votes. And that passes unanimously. Special business, proclamations, canvass returns, etc. 2025-0010. In recognition, Chief Barry Minnick, 50 years of service, Luling Volunteer Fire Department. Mr. Jewell.
Thank you, Chairwoman. It's my honor to read this recognition tonight for Chief Minnick, and I'll tell you that these plaques only have a limited amount of words that you can put on them, and we were only really able to do the highlights of Chief Minnick's service. So I will start with the Parish of St. Charles, February 10th, 2025, in recognition. Whereas Chief Barry Minnick is a resident of St. Charles Parish, residing in Luling, Louisiana with his wife of over 48 years, Anne. They are the proud parents of 4 children, Tara Fuselier, April Haydell, Blair Dunn, and Annie Colbeth, and proud grandparents of 8 grandchildren, Anna, Evan, Amelie, Abraham, Canaan, Jesse, Ryan, and a grandson on the way. And whereas Chief Minnick worked for Union Carbide and Dow for St. Charles Parish for over 35 years and has devoted 50 years of fire service with the Luling Volunteer Fire Department, where he joined in 1968. He is the longest tenured member of the department with distinguished service to the community as a volunteer firefighter. And whereas Chief Minnick began his fire service career holding various positions throughout the years, including president and fire chief, and whereas the position of Luling Volunteer Fire Department chief, he continues to hold today, along with his current position as president of the St. Charles Parish Firemen's Association and chief investigator for the St. Charles Parish Coroner's Office. And whereas Chief Minnick has responded to thousands of calls during his time as a firefighter, thereby providing an enormous benefit to the community and our residents. And whereas Chief Minnick's dedication, devotion, and volunteerism are a shining example of community service and service to others. Now, therefore, be it resolved that we, the members of the St. Charles Parish Council and the Parish President, do hereby express our appreciation, admiration, and gratitude for firefighter Chief Barry Minnick for his 50 years of service and dedication to the community as a volunteer firefighter, and thank him for his tireless service. Chief Barry Minnick, Luling Volunteer Fire Department, 50 years of service.
Thank you. Appreciate you. Appreciate all of it. Thank you.
One more. Thank you.
Certainly thank all of y'all for this proclamation, recognition. It's very much appreciated, and I'm very humbled to be here in front of you. You know, it's pretty cool to know where we were 50 years ago and see where we are now. But because of the men and women, in particular, in my department, but all over the parish that serve in emergency services, they taught me how to dream again and dream about where we need to be. So that's where we're headed. It doesn't seem like it's 50 years, but I guess so. And but enough of me. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank the parish for our recent snow event we went through. We're used to storms, but not that kind. And but Public Works, Department of, or the Waterworks, wastewater. They kept all of those critical services online. We never had a hiccup. I'd like to thank Entergy for all the work they did. But really, our EOC was fantastic. I saw it when it was in the basement, when there was only a few people. And to see what it is now, but this event was different to all of us. And from Saturday on, they were spot on. Jason and his team, the communications was fantastic throughout all emergency services from the EOC. And even though there were some challenges, you know, and I got to thank St. Charles Hospital also and St. Charles EMS because they never missed a lick either. And we had responses during these events, and they were challenging, but they were successful. So thank you all very much. The parish, everybody, everything y'all did for us in the parish, it was very much appreciated. And just, I hope I got a few more years left. So thank you. Appreciate you.
Councilman Comerdell.
Chief, I just want to say thank you for everything you do outside of the department. You know, I've walked through fire with a lot of men, and you've been one of the greatest. But also the training, when you retired and you went to work at RIPS and helped a lot of young guys come up into the industry that are the future. So appreciate you for everything you've done outside of the call of duty.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Chief Minnick, I would just like to thank you also for all of your service. And one thing that I don't think was mentioned in your recognition was that you held the seat of Council at Large, Division B, for some years.
Yeah, 16 years on the council.
Yes, so thank you very much. You have served this parish well.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. And all those experiences have been fantastic. The education that came through experience just keeps building and building and building. So we try to keep it going. Thank you all so much.
Thank you very much. Okay, file number 2025-0011, Proclamation, French Language and Heritage Day. Mr. Comerdell.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Proclamation, whereas St. Charles Parish, Louisiana recognizes that the French language is vitally important to the identity and culture of the people who settled this area of South Louisiana in the 17 and 1800s. Whereas we encourage all of our citizens to teach with great pride to our children all that they can about the French language, culture, and history that has made this area so uniquely different than other areas in the United States. And whereas we encourage our citizens to promote and speak French in public venues and family gatherings, and whereas we encourage our local businesses to do business in French or bilingual, French and English, and whereas we recognize the French language has always been a vital part of the culture and economy of St. Charles Parish, Louisiana, and is a multi-billion-dollar industry for the state of Louisiana, and whereas the Cajun dancers of Alaman Elementary School began in the mid-1980s, and Alaman's elementary educator keeps the tradition alive by continuing to preserve the Cajun Dancers program. Now therefore, be it resolved, we the members of St. Charles Parish Council and Parish President do hereby proclaim March 20th, 2025 as French Language and Heritage Day. And Ms. Tanya Toste and Ms. Wendy Solomon, along with Ms. Lisa Perrin and the Cajun Dancers, are here to accept.
Get on in there.
Ready? All right. Okay. The whole house.
A lot of kids.
All right, well, thank you Cajun dancers and Ms. Toste, Solomon, and Perrin. File number 2025-0012, proclamation, Problem Gambling Awareness Month. Proclamation. Whereas the National Council on Problem Gambling has designated March 2025 as Problem Gambling Awareness Month, and whereas problem gambling is a public health issue affecting millions of Americans of all ages, races, and ethnic backgrounds, and whereas problem gambling has a significant societal and economic cost for individuals, families, businesses, and communities, and whereas problem gambling is treatable and treatment is effective in minimizing this harm to both individuals and society as a whole, and whereas numerous individuals, professionals, and organizations have dedicated efforts to the education of the public about problem gambling and the availability and effectiveness of treatment, and whereas the National Council on Problem Gambling invite all citizens of St. Charles Parish to participate in Problem Gambling Awareness Month, now therefore be it resolved, we the members of the St. Charles Parish Council and the Parish President do hereby proclaim March 2025 as Problem Gambling Awareness Month in St. Charles Parish and encourage all citizens to support the National Council on Problem Gambling in their efforts to mitigate gambling-related harm nationwide. And we have Mr. J. Majorana here to accept.
One more. Thank you.
Thank you, Parish Council, for getting us in to recognize Problem Gambling Awareness Month. I am working at 2 different clinics on the bayou and also on the river. And our treatment programs are not pretty much utilized right now very much. I don't know what the problem is. There's a lot of people out there that do need help with gambling, and I appreciate the fact that y'all asked us to come out today, maybe to pass that word around with y'all. Or maybe somebody may hear somebody that may need help, and we can get them in. So I appreciate that. And thank y'all.
Thank you, Mr. Mayoram. I appreciate you. File number 2025-0023, proclamation, Crew of Months Day. Mr. Fisher.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Whereas on Saturday, February 22nd, 2025, at 10 a.m., the Crew of Months will hold its 40th, yes, 40th, Mardi Gras parade through the streets of Months. And whereas the Crew of Months Parade is organized and directed by Ms. Connie Fayard, who gives her time and talent to make this event possible. And whereas the Crew of Months Parade is held in memory of Mr. and Mrs. Cleve Wascom, who originally organized the event. And whereas the Crew of Months is strictly an ATV parade consisting of 3-wheel and 4-wheel vehicles, go-karts, and golf carts. And whereas the residents of St. Charles Parish are truly grateful for Ms. Fayard's dedication, and hard work. Now therefore be it resolved that we, the members of the St. Charles Parish Council and the parish president, do hereby proclaim Saturday, February 22nd, 2025, as Crew of Months Day. Be it further resolved that Saturday, February 22nd, 2025, is hereby declared a day of fun and festivities in St. Charles Parish. Be it further resolved that on behalf of the citizens of St. Charles Parish, we do hereby extend our sincere thanks and appreciation to Ms. Connie Fayard for her contributions to the Crew of Months. And be it further resolved that this parade is dedicated in the memory of Mr. and Mrs. Cleve Wascom in honor of their dedication and involvement with the Crew of Months in St. Charles Parish. Ms. Connie's here tonight, and I think she has some members of the original founding part of Months, the Kellers. Why don't y'all come on up?
One more. All right, thank you.
I just want to say thank you for everyone for giving us this proclamation. And I have here Mr. Joey Keller and his daughter Rebecca, who are the founders of the parade. Mr. Joey started the parade for his daughter Rebecca while she was babysitting some children in the neighborhood. And they turned it over to Mr. Wascom in the early 90s after 10 years of service themselves. So I wanted to recognize them as the founders of the parade and tell them thank you for starting it. It's so much fun for the kids of Months, and we really enjoy it and hope to continue it for 40 more years. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Fayard. Councilman Fisher.
Ms. Connie, I just want to say thank you for taking up the torch. Curtis did it a long time, and then with that, but I truly think your commitment to the citizens of the Month is to be, really celebrated. I think you're going to do a fine job as the Grand Marshal of it. So, looking forward to many more proclamations.
I hope so. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Reports, finance and administrative activities. File number 2025-0013, Entergy, and we have Ms. Flo Dumas here to give a report.
Good afternoon, Parish President, Council. I thank Parish President for inviting us here today, Entergy, to explain our resiliency project that we have planned. The utility work that's being taken place in St. Charles Parish area is a part of Entergy's Louisiana Comprehensive Grid Resilience Program, which was approved by Louisiana Public Service Commission earlier this year. More details can be found on our actual Energy Louisiana Comprehensive Grid website. I will provide that to you all. The overall program includes 2,100 projects impacting approximately 69,000 distribution and transmission structures. In the St. Charles area, you have Destrehan, Hahnville, Luling, and Norco. In front of you, you have the map, which has the actual criteria of where those projects began in January through January 2025, the Hardin District, and the future projects that are in progress. We usually send monthly updates to the council, Parish President, to make you aware of an outage, and we usually send the messages out, proactive dialing to our customers with their point of contact to make them aware that there will be a planned outage in their area. Most of the utility poles are being replaced as a part of these efforts. The work is designed not only to strengthen our electric system, but also increase the resilience of the communities we serve, okay? A more robust electric system will help reduce storm restoration costs and enable quicker recovery for both company and economic after major storms. So it's wind resistance for our poles that we install. There was a question that arose as far as how do we determine what type of pole we install, right? So due to soil conditions and certain applications may require a certain pole type, but all resilient poles are designed for 150 miles per hour wind. Okay, we are using steel, concrete, wood, and composite. The program is almost 70,000 poles across the state. The qualities needed, the time frame, right, needed for more than any other vendor that can supply the actual materials for that job, the poles for the job. So one planned outage we had was February 4th on Courthouse Lane. That was very productive there. On February 11th, which is tomorrow, there's an outage, 113 customers with numerous streets in Hornville, Aquarius, Oak Street, several streets that has been reported. And thank y'all, especially thanks for our public information officer for taking care of the communication on social media as well, keeping our community involved and informed. We have another outage that is actually planned on March 1st. I've sent the communication to parish president and team. Okay, and this is on Judge Edward Dufresne, so on a Saturday. So most of the merchants have been, everyone have been contacted regarding this outage to make that repair on that street. So we also have another company that's actually going door to door and alerting customers about those outages as well. So that's a big help as well. So and a large outage, I did send an actual listing of all the commercial customers and the addresses for Judge Edward Dufresne Drive. Okay, so we will forward to an email at least 15 days in advance, notify customers by their point of contact, like I stated earlier, to make sure that they are aware that we're gonna have an outage, and we try to alert them 3 times. We do outbound calling, whatever, emails, whatever they have, for their point of contact, to make them aware of that. February 11th, there's another outage that, from 9 to 12 for 3 hours, and that involves 35 customers. And that is to be scheduled as well. So we try to keep the council informed of all the dates that we have these planned outages, because it's very important that we communicate with our customers and let them know that in case, if they have any medical emergency, anything that they need to do to make them aware that they can go ahead and plan for those days when we have the planned outages. And you did see the map that I provide, the hardened assets and the dishardened addresses, so that's included in the package as well.
Okay, Ms. Dumas, we have a few council members that have questions.
Okay.
Councilman Pile.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Ms. Dumas, appreciate the fact that we get a heads up on these projects. There was one that was around Red Church behind St. Charles Borromeo a few months ago. Well communicated, worked well within the time frame. That's great. There was a number of people that put play in notices about last January when I first came on seat about a loss over on Bell Grove in Ormond neighborhood.
Okay.
And so I had actually helped some of your people get right-of-way cleared by one of the owners to go from Villery over across, back over to Bell Grove to service 30 people.
Yes.
And I've checked with that. Is that one of the ones that's on your list of things to do?
Yes. Yes,
When
sir.
would that be happening?
It is. Well, I have the address that you gave me. I can look at that project and give you that date.
I mean, there's a
and send it to
schedule,
you.
because I was told it was scheduled.
Yeah, it is scheduled, right. We have it scheduled, but we received the communications from our construction team, and they let us know exactly when it's scheduled. So if it's not in the board,
So it's not
right
yet,
away.
it's not yet on your
Correct,
radar
possibly,
screen?
correct, right. I'll
I
have to double
appreciate
check.
you letting us
But
know.
I'll
There were
definitely
30
let you
people
know.
lose power at one time.
No problem. I'll definitely check out this
Thank you very
to make
much.
sure. Thank you.
All right, Councilman Fisher?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Flo, thanks for coming out tonight. Appreciate it.
No problem.
Appreciate you answering emails.
Yes.
But I am kind of concerned. I don't see the hardening projects for the Muntz area. I know we've done some hardening with changing poles. Is that because we're out of the reserve district, or is this
Yeah, it's
just the
right. It's out of the
Lutheran
reserve district. That's correct. It's covered by the reserve district, and however, I spoke to the operations coordinator in that area, and there are plans, future plans for the Muntz area. I sent to parish president to make him aware of that. They've performed inspections there, and they're planning on hardening that project, that area as well.
Because, all
Extra work in
all
that
poles
area,
is
yes.
put in Muntz.
Yeah, right. We don't want those.
We can lock the gate and keep them
That
all
is
to
correct. No,
ourselves.
no.
Okay.
There are inspections on the way, and they will focus in that area.
All right.
Okay.
I did receive a few, with you being on the agenda tonight, I did receive a few emails from some residents of Muntz concerned about the response they've been getting with energy. We've had a lot of power dips. I think, like I said, you and I have had those conversations.
Yes,
About that. There were some concerns about, they've been good stewards, they've been reporting and stuff like that, and it just kind of seems like they kind of fell on deaf ears. Is there anything we can do as a council, or as that to put more information out? Or is there anything that you can give us that we can give to these residents?
Yeah, we can work on reliability issue with our reliability team and try to get something out to the residents and make them aware. And again, like you said, it's the reserve network, so I do handle that area. So we'd be glad to discuss that with the council.
Yeah, that was a couple of things, and a few of them have actually called the Public Service Commission.
Okay,
I guess,
no
to do
problem.
some
And if I can get
complaints,
those addresses, that would really help as well, the locations.
Yeah, I can give
Or
you a few of
concerned,
that. But
yeah, that would very help us, and we can provide it.
but power dips with the changes and the things like that, so
Okay.
that's the biggest concerns.
All right.
So, and then
Well,
like the fact that, you know, they've done some reporting and it seems like it's been kind of slow to get to it.
Right.
And then finally, when something happens.
And
So,
finally, we have that inspection, like I stated, and we definitely gonna focus on that area.
well, I appreciate the
Yeah.
effort, the hardening. That's, I see that, look, I can.
Oh, yeah.
If anybody who wants to come
But it's
drive
the
past Little
extra,
Gypsy,
right.
you can see the money that we're spending, but I'd like to see
Absolutely.
that, and then I'll get with you later on.
Sure,
Tuesday.
that's fine, yeah, we can do that. No
Appreciate
problem. You're welcome. Mhm.
All right, thank you, Councilman Fisher. Councilwoman O'Daniels.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I do appreciate there's been some patchwork work being done in St. Rose just based on some projects we have going on, but I don't see anything on hardening on this particular map. You said you're going to give us a link to
Yes,
show the
yes, yes.
entire plan?
Yes, we'll send that link.
Okay.
And I'll let you know for the St. Rose area, because it may not be at this time, it may be in
Right.
the future for 2025, yeah, 2025.
So this is
No problem.
2025?
This is 2025 and future projects that are coming, through the end of the year.
Okay, so
But
this
so it
is,
may be,
okay.
in the plans, yes.
Okay, because
But
it
not yet
says.
on, yeah.
Yeah, it says through the end of January 2025, so I was a little confused. So this is 2025's hardening? Okay.
2025, and then future projects after January 2025.
Okay, so
Yeah.
the link you provide us will have the future projects as well?
Yeah, well, with the link that was provided, that gives you the information as far as the reliability project.
Mm-hmm.
But anything else, we would have to provide that information to you as far as the locations
Okay,
and where to find it, yes.
so we should be
Right.
looking at 2026 for
Yeah.
hardening in St.
Yeah,
Rose? All
I
right,
think most of the project will be done this year, 2025, if I'm correct, right, Ms. Anna? They should be done in 2025, yeah, before December of 2025, yeah. But it's on the list, but I'll double check to make sure, because, they send, our construction team, like, hey, I need this information, send it to me, right?
Yeah.
So they send us the map, and St. Rose is not on that list
Right, right.
for now, right? So it may
I
be in the
see that.
second phase as well.
okay, well,
Yes.
thank you.
Okay. Yeah, 3-year project. We can get you more details. Yes.
I appreciate that, thank you.
Gotcha, St. Rose.
Thank you, Councilwoman O'Daniels. Parish President Jewell.
Flo, thank you for all the times that we have to communicate, mostly during storms
Yeah.
and whatnot. And just want to first say, I want to say thank you to Entergy, because I know it's a disruption to the community when you have to lose power so they can transition from the old to the new. And
Yes.
but it's great to see metal poles, composite poles, infrastructure that's much more resilient and much more,
Wind resistant.
well, yes, wind resistant, and what you're seeing in some other states, like what Florida's doing and what Florida has been doing for many years. And I think that, we lost thousands of poles after Ida, and y'all replaced those. I think after Francine, it was evident how much better it was having newer infrastructure in place, and I think this is going to be even better because
Yes.
it's rated for a higher wind speed. I do want to just take a second to piggyback on Councilman Fisher, and I know we had the issue in Muncie the other night with that pole that was that broke, but the residents are seeing what I believe y'all refer to as power quality events happening on blue sky days. These dips in power, and I've even been told that it has affected their appliances. Some people have invested in whole house surge protectors. And so I really think as far as within St. Charles Parish, it needs to be a top priority for Entergy
Absolutely.
to investigate that and provide the parish with a report so that we can go back to the residents and the council members and let them know what's going on there. So I just hope that, whenever that time comes, that you can provide that to us. And then a plan on what they will do to prevent that from happening, because the residents are just unsure if it has something to do with the J-Wade compressor station, or if it has to do with the natural gas generation plants that are right there. So it's just, I know it's a concern for a lot of people, and if we can fix that, it'll give them a lot of ease and comfort at home. So, thank you.
Yes, and we definitely, like I said, they perform the inspections, and I just spoke to the supervisor and operations coordinator, and they will focus on that, and once I get the plan, I'll definitely communicate that with you. No problem.
All right, thank you, Parish President Jewell. Flo, you and I, first I want to thank you for all you do. You're always very responsive and get back with us in a timely manner. You and I spoke previously about how some of the residents don't understand when they see work going on in one neighborhood that's getting the new poles, and,
Yes.
Their neighborhood
Right.
gets work, but it's
Yeah,
not
yeah.
those new
It's not the new,
poles.
but it's different.
And you mentioned a
Explain
couple
that.
of things during your report on
Yes.
how y'all decide where to put which type of pole, one being soil conditions, the other being
Correct.
the supply that's on hand at that point in time. But we've also talked about how the other thing that's also taken into consideration is whether there's critical infrastructure that, the power on those certain poles lead to, and power.
Right.
That, those certainly need to be hardened for that reason.
Yes.
So I just wanted to mention that, and if you have anything else to add, we appreciate, some background on
Yes.
how that decision is made.
Right, and
So
that's
that we can
right,
explain to
exactly.
residents when they feel like,
They're like,
why did they get the nicer poles and we don't, right?
Right, I like the metal poles, yeah, so I definitely understand the customer's concern about that. But like I said, with the materials that we have and the soil conditions, that plays a factor in the actual, where to install the poles, and like main thoroughfares, like certain areas on the main streets,
Highway,
like
right.
Edward Dufresne,
Right.
they have the nice poles, yeah, so that's a long
Right.
stretch. And considering the pole, the wind resistance as well for
Right.
storms.
Right.
So that's a big help.
Okay, I
Yeah.
see Councilwoman Wilson has.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Flo, I just want to thank you for all of the conversations that you and I have had, the calls that we've had, the emails and so forth. Just thank you for every time we've spoken, and you've always gotten back to me, and just thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right,
Go St.
thank you
Charles.
very much.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay, file number 2025-0014, Risk Management Safety, and we have Ms. Rochelle Champagne here to report.
We are ready to go. Good evening, honorable council members and parish president. I'm here this evening to provide you with a brief presentation on some of the activities that are keeping us busy in the risk management department. We will begin with who we are. This slide here has a few photos of us. Of course, it's myself at the top. I am your risk manager, Rochelle Champagne. I hold 3 certifications in safety and health, and I have been working in parish risk management for over 15 years. And in our department, we have 3 assistant risk managers. They are Kevin Bird, Ryder Troxler, and Chandra Sampe. And they all participate on an on-call rotation 24/7, and they respond to accidents and investigations. They open and work majority of the claims in-house without the assistance of an outside TPA. They're all certified in workers' comp as workers' comp professionals, and they are working on their safety certifications. Within the last year, we added our last employee to the department. It was an administrative assistant that was filled by Kimberly Morgan. She routes all the incoming calls and directs them appropriately. She also manages our department's claims filing system, and she's very organized. She's a great addition to the department. Our next slide talks a little bit, I'm sorry, it shares a little bit about claims management, in which case I will talk about it. Again, our first information bulletin, we process and manage all the claims, y'all, for general liability, auto liability, and property damage claims. We gather all the information and we process reimbursement claims that are funds that are due back to the parish. We are responsible for the expenditures that are paid out of the in-house loss fund and the SIR fund. The in-house loss fund is a fund that is through Finance Department, and it is for expected losses. That's gonna be your losses that are beneath the insurance deductible. So if we're responsible for it, we go ahead and we handle it in-house, and it's non-reportable to our carrier. Funds that are paid out of the SIR fund or reportable to our insurance carrier, and we handle those as well, and those are usually known as your deductible. We investigate all parish-related accidents and employee injuries. We gather the information and we review it with the departments, and we go over corrective actions and how to prevent them from happening again. Another bulletin, we facilitate drug test screenings for employees, post-accident and post-injury. We facilitate the medical treatment, y'all, for injured employees, and that's from the initial visit and all the way until they are fully released. We facilitate the transportation. And then we monitor all workers' comp claims, and we work closely with the adjusters to monitor the claims cost. And then we provide 5 safety topics each month to all the major departments. These departments have the majority of our workers. They include public works, wastewater, government buildings, recreation, animal control, GIS, and waterworks. We perform all the new hire and biannual DMV checks for all employees who drive for work purposes, whether it's a fleet vehicle or their personal one. If they're driving on our behalf, we want to make sure that our employees are licensed and insured. We provide the insurance verification reviews for a lot of our parish vendors and contracts that come before you guys. We facilitate new employee safety training for all new hires, and we schedule the annual employee training that is online, and we perform an audit just to make sure it's all completed. Gave myself a note, this past year, we have assigned over this training to over 500 employees. We work closely with administration, personnel, and the legal department to promote and enforce parish policies. And we work in conjunction with Public Works and GIS with tree inspections and concerns with trees that are within the parish servitudes and right-of-ways. We participate in the courthouse security committee, and we manage the parish's vehicle fleet and equipment assets program. This includes managing over 319 fleet vehicles, give or take, as they're we're getting ready to go to auction, so that number is going to actually decrease. And we keep up with the over 375 pieces of heavy commercial equipment. And that ranges from keeping up with the registrations, adding or dropping insurance to each unit, and of course assigning the unit numbers for asset control. My next screen here shows some of the training that was provided last year in 2024. This is not the entire list. However, this list here was training that was performed in person. It's either in a classroom setting or it was hands-on training with the equipment. This is different topics that were covered amongst various departments. In fact, the photos are actually our employees. And then a little recap for 2024. We managed 160 in-house loss fund claims. Of course, those were not reported to insurance. Those were considered within our deductible. And then, again, with personnel, risk management department and personnel together facilitated over 520 drug screens. Those drug screens were performed for pre-hire, post-accident, post-injury, and then also for randoms. And that's based on our drug policy. And last year, we had 41 workers' compensation claims. And that concludes my report. I'll be happy to answer any questions. My last slide was, of course, our business hours are 7 to 4. We're located here in the courthouse. But of course, y'all can call EOC at any time. Call us directly. We are here to serve.
Thank you, Ms. Champagne.
Thank you.
Councilman Keeling.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I can't help but ask, of all the drug screenings that you do, is there a percentage of failure?
Unfortunately, we do. It's a very, very slight failure, which is absolutely good to report to you. Majority of the non-negatives are actually pre-hire, which is a good thing because we don't bring them on board. That's correct.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
Rochelle, I just have one question.
Sure.
Is the 41 workers' compensation claims about average, high, low?
It was a little increase from the year before. We were at 29. This year, we were at 41. We're hoping to bring that down this coming year in 2025, but I just wanted to report.
Because I know the amount of safety training has been increased over the last 4 years. Any thoughts on what happened, or it's just an anomaly, or?
It's hard to explain. Our training has been successful. It's increased tremendously in the last 4 years, just like you said. The claims it could be a bee sting, even though it's very minor. You can have an employee that's allergic. So you can have, claims they vary. The significant of the claims are real low. They're not, again, significant, but unfortunately, we have 41 claims.
Okay. Councilman Commerdale?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Rochelle, just some more data that I would like to see if you have it in the future when you put these 41 compensation claims.
Yeah.
If we have man-hours worked.
Okay.
Because, that sets that off a lot. We have hurricane, we had Francine, we had some rain events, so we may have worked a whole lot more man-hours in '24 than we did in '23, which would kind of offset that, so we can compare injuries per man-hour, not just injuries over 365 days.
Correct. I will put that together and
All right.
send it. That is no problem.
Thank you, Councilman Commerdale. Parish President Jewell?
Hey, Rochelle.
Hi.
Thanks for all you do. One of the things I wanted to mention to the council is that Rochelle has been doing a very good job at managing those claims a lot better than I think we have in the past, which has led to a significant amount of savings for the parish. And I believe it was in 2020, when I first came into office, we were the company that the parish had been utilizing for our workman's comp coverage for probably the previous 30 or 40 years. We were paying about $1 million worth of premium every year. We switched to a new company. Our premium immediately went down to $650,000, and we started receiving a dividend. This coming year, we're probably, Grant, am I right to say that we're going to receive probably our max dividend, which we think will be about $300,000 to $350,000 a year. So we've effectively, when you factor the dividend into that, we've effectively gone from $1 million down to essentially $300,000 for our premium coverage. Obviously, we utilize the dividend goes back into the general fund, but we utilize it, and we've been doing a lot more training that is free through our through that company that provides our coverage. But we also are doing a lot more outside safety inspection and other things that go along with it. Obviously, the goal is to be zero, but our EMOD, which is the factor that they use to multiply against our premium, is below 1, and you want an EMOD below 1 because if your EMOD is 0.9, you take your premium, you multiply it by 0.9, and that is your premium. If it's above 1, it actually really dings you pretty hard. So our EMOD, I think it was like 0.85 right now. We think the EMOD will stay the same. It could even potentially go down, just depends on how a couple of these cases here shake out. But overall, good news, and I think we're going to keep pushing the safety and the training, and I think long-term benefits are going to really show themselves. Thanks. And thanks for you and your staff and all they do.
Thank you, Parish President Jewell, and thank you, Ms. Commerdale. I appreciate your report.
Thank y'all very much.
File number 2025-0015, Parish President Remarks Report. Parish President Jewell.
Thank you, Chairwoman. I'm going to get out to just a quick start here. Last week I mentioned, or last council meeting I mentioned Muntz Pump Station. I just want to let you guys know, Muntz Pump Station number 1 is officially out to bid. It's been a long time coming. This was our first 408 permit that we've ever had to do, and boy, was it a process, and it was not fun, I will tell you. But that project is out to bid. We're going to be working internally to figure out our timing on the bidding of pump station number 2. Obviously, we want to see what the cost of pump station number 1 comes back. I see we have Kyle Galloway in the audience tonight. Kyle is the engineer on that project and has been doing a fantastic job working with us to get this project out. And Kyle, thank you for everything that you did. It's been about 3 years, might be 3 years in March, I think, when since we started this project. So in terms of getting things done, that's somewhat lightning speed. We'd love to have seen the 408 process go a little bit quicker than it did. Again, out to bid. We are going to open bids March 18th at 10 a.m. And again, we are saying our prayers that thing comes in, right at budget or preferably below budget. Next, we have St. Rose Pump Station improvements. Public Works crews removed and are rebuilding one of the diesel engines at the 4th Street Pump Station in St. Rose. The small motor is also being upgraded from 800 to 1200 RPMs. Future improvements at this site will also include elevating the panels and the equipment 3 feet higher to protect the station from rising floodwaters. Lead time on some of those supplies has been a little bit longer than we expected. So we are at that point now. This is going to help with some of the reliability of that station during those heaviest downpours. The CN ditch culvert installation. I want to preface that this isn't the Ormond CN culvert installation. That project is forthcoming, but Public Works applied for and received emergency permits from CN Railroad to repair a water line that has broken multiple times. So if you are in this area, if you lived behind River Point, River Village, near Scheck-Snyder, we had an exposed water line, just dirt has fallen off of it, and that water line being uncovered was allowed to flex. It had split several times, causing some pretty significant issues and some damage. I think Rochelle's no longer in the audience, but Rochelle has had to pay for, I think, a roof a couple of times with this water line breaking, and it caused reliability issues for a huge portion of the East Bank. So part of this project is to be able to properly cover that line with compacted dirt to give it the extra stability that it needs, but also if you've walked that servitude back there along the railroad right-of-way, you would know we've dug it several times. As these trains run through and the soil conditions aren't very great, ballast, dirt, whatever you can imagine falls into these ditches. So that has caused impediments to drainage. And so the addition of the 60-inch culverts over this run, and I think Miles is about 600 feet of run, was that correct?
I believe so, sir, yes.
So about 600 feet of run, I believe is going to help keep water moving and will be help with the reliability of that water line back there and stabilize that ditch. Go to the next slide. And, go back one. And so you can just see in the photos here that our carpenters are framing up the catch basins to be installed. And so that's what's going on. And we thank the carpenters and Dale Ered and the heavy drainage crew for the installation along the railroad. Cross Bayou Pump Station electrical improvements Our Public Works Electrical Group has been working in Cross Bayou Pump Station since we took over operations on January 1st to bring the station up to our standards, which means fully automating this manually operated station. Crews removed manual oiling on the gearboxes, replaced the gearbox on pump number 4, and replaced a leaking seal on pump number 3's engine. They've also added a cooling system on the valves and repaired all lighting in the station. So we're starting kind of what will be not incredibly long process, but will be a process of converting the station over to be able to operate in a similar manner that all of our other major pump stations operate under. This is an important station on the East Bank, so we're going to continue the operations the same way they've always been operated, but we are going to save a significant amount of money by being able to operate this station remotely, which allows us to spread our forces around in these inclement weather events. Public Works equipment maintenance. Just kind of some of the ins and outs of some of the stuff that we do, and our mechanic shops aren't always in the spotlight, so we wanted to just take a second to show you some folks working at the East Bank Yard to look at our heavy equipment units. In this picture here, they were doing some brake work on a dump truck, and we try to do a lot of this maintenance in-house to help prolong the equipment's usable life, cut our costs, and limit the time that the equipment is taken out of service to go to an off-site shop. If we have to send equipment to an off-site shop, obviously we do that, but it really does take us a long time to get our equipment back because of the fact that so many other places are sending their stuff there, and there's limited manpower at those shops as well. All right, we'll go to the next slide. The levee bike path in AMA formed a lateral crack in the asphalt, and it opened up to a dangerous width, about the width of a bicycle tire. And obviously, we know that the levee track is a popular spot for bicyclists. So crews removed the failing areas and replaced them with fresh and smooth asphalt, as well as made improvements to the underlying base so that that no one got hurt in this area. All right, DeZalman's ditch work. For members who were on the council a few years back, about 2 years ago, we received a servitude from a property owner in DeZalman's to help improve some drainage in that area, and Public Works was down in there really making an improvement to that swale. That's going to help drain down the Bayou Road to the Grand Marais. It's also going to provide some drainage to Shubert Lane, and it's going to be able to help keep those areas a little bit drier in the heavy rains. Again, that's from down the Bayou Road all the way to the Grand Marais. Ashton Soccer Complex is coming along. Our Public Works and Recreation crews have been working together to expand the paved parking area at the Ashton Soccer Complex, so parents and visitors will have more space to park for games. We are also looking to expand the number of fields in that area to also help us consolidate all of the soccer area that we have in the parish, currently now in 3 locations: J.B. Martin / R.J. Vial, Ashton, and Shriners. So we'd like to focus all of our soccer into one complex. So making the necessary expansions here will provide not only the field space, but the parking space, and a great win for the parish. Our Public Works Director worked with DOTD to obtain 2,000 cubic yards of reclaimed asphalt milled from parish roads. That was given back to us from DOTD and upcycled to help make this parking lot. I think it's the best choice for the material because it makes virtually no dust. And I know that was a big concern for the residents in Ashton. This material would have cost the parish about $200,000 had we purchased it new. So it's great news on that front. Monsanto Park upgrades. Tennis courts are being resurfaced at Monsanto Park, and we are doing some baseball field upgrades, including leveling the field and adding some new fencing. This will all be completed in the months to come, and I believe the tennis courts are complete, if not, will be soon. The upgrades will give our tennis and baseball programs some improved space to practice and play on for many years to come. East Bank Bridge Park, Phase 1 update. The improvements at the East Bank Bridge Park are ramping up. The contractor kept the playground and parking lot open as long as possible, but given that the parking lot needed improvements made to it, the parking lot was closed, and so now the entire park there is closed. Lighting on the fields will be delivered soon, and subsurface drainage is ongoing. Remember, those turf fields require a significant amount of subsurface drainage to help facilitate the artificial turf and help facilitate future play. That's one of the benefits of utilizing artificial turf, is that you no longer have these rain cancellations and will be able to get back to play quickly. We're also included in that. Public Works is assisting with some drainage work along the perimeter of the park, and we put an example up here of some where you have some standing water. So improvements are being made internally by Public Works as well as ditches along the exterior of the park that go behind Harry Hurst Middle School and flow into the outfall. Additionally, some work is being done in between the houses on, I'm sure that's on Destrehan Avenue, and between Harry Hurst and that street, so behind the homes. All right, next is Bethune Park. Bethune Park is also becoming the improvements there are becoming more noticeable now that much of the groundwork and dirt work is complete. The baseball field fencing, pavilion, and the basketball goals are going up currently. The playground should be delivered later this month, and the basketball court lead time was a little bit longer than we expected, but it will be one of the last finishing touches on there. So the court that you see there, the slab was designed to be able to receive a covering. So instead of just having, a solid 4-inch concrete slab, it does have footings around the perimeter in the middle to accommodate for the weight of a covering. All right, we just spoke about this. Our risk management team has been working to host work zone safety classes to educate our field personnel on best practices to prevent accidents on our job sites. This class covered comprehensive temporary traffic control planning, understanding the dangers of work zones, training flaggers, and ensuring that all required PPE and high-vis apparel are always on. Our goal is not only to teach our employees what they should be looking out for, but to get it in their brain to always be thinking about safety first. A little bit of training can go a really long way, as Rochelle mentioned earlier. Appreciate everybody who came out for our Coastal Restoration Program Strategy Master Plan input. We held a public meeting on Tuesday, February 4th. Residents, stakeholders, council members were all in attendance. But for those who could not be in attendance, they can submit input by tomorrow, February 11th, via the link or the QR code on your screen. We've also shared that information on Facebook. Your input will be very helpful to us as we create and implement our coastal restoration strategies in St. Charles Parish and work those into the CPRA master plan. All right, employee biometric screenings. Part of our comprehensive benefits package for our employees involves a wellness program through Ochsner. So employees met with healthcare staff at the Edward A. Dufresne Community Center to get some baseline screening for metrics such as weight, cholesterol, blood pressure, glucose level, and they also can follow up with their primary care provider and even enroll in one of our wellness programs that help us improve our health. Our goal on the healthcare side, which is an ever cost increasing program, is to try to flatten those cost increase by catching potentially expensive conditions earlier on for our employees. So these health screenings allow our employees to catch those earlier before they become bigger issues. All right, the LDI Fortified Roof Grant Lottery. The Louisiana Department of Insurance opens a new lottery for fortified roofs. These are grants, and they only are for residents within the coastal zone. Great news, St. Charles Parish is in the coastal zone, and you can see the coastal zone on your screen there. Residents can go to www.ldi.la.gov/fortify homes to create an account before the lottery opens, and that will help them simplify their registration. All lottery entries must be submitted before 5 p.m. on Sunday, February 16th. So again, this is I believe it's a $10,000 grant for residents within the coastal zone to put a fortified roof on their home. Fortified roofs are the way the code is going. It's the way the insurance companies who are writing in Louisiana, it's what they want to see, and I hope our residents take advantage of that opportunity. Finally, we want to conclude, or somewhat conclude, the final sales tax numbers for 2024. In December, there was a decrease in revenue compared to last year by nearly 7% over month. However, we still ended up about 1%, 0.96% higher than last year. The school board did state to us that the mail has been very slow in January, and they are still receiving mail that's been postmarked for December. So we may actually see a little bit of a bounce in January because some of those collections did not make it for the year end. So, always good news that we are positive year over year. We hope that trend will continue this year. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Parish President Jewell. Councilman Pele.
Thank you, Madam Chair. President Jewell, I recall that when we took over the Cross Bayou Station, that there was an estimate as to how much maintenance there might be over a period of time. And I heard the ones that you have enumerated here. Do you think we'll be on track for the first year, given the repairs that we see that we're doing?
I'm going to turn that over to Miles. I do know that the internal data that we've collected, and I believe Miles probably put that in his report to you all, that we have seen, based off of our maintenance program, how we're running the stations through SCADA and working with them, that our maintenance costs, being proactive, have come way down from where they were. But I know there's generally a few things that have to happen this year. We've prioritized them a certain way for these stations. Obviously, over the course of the next few years, there's going to be a lot more. But Miles, I'll let you answer some of the projects that we're going to be doing this year.
Yes, sir. Well, you heard of a couple of them that he talked about with the oil, changing the oil out. There's also some piping that we've been doing and all the upgrades with the telemetry. That station was a fully, manual station that we had to man every storm. We're moving away from that. We're getting, we had some money of our own that was actually allocated that we would normally pay to PLD for maintenance on that storm. Well, we took that money since we weren't going to pay them, and we've actually started using that money. So we got to jump on being able to do some of those things that we needed to do. So we're ahead of the game. Plus, the CAO of the parish negotiated a good deal for us and got us an upfront $3.5 million grant that we will use for, some of those upgrades as well. But we're on our way to getting that station to a point where it meets our standards, which we've raised over the period of time that President Jewell has been here, where we do weekly and monthly checks on every item in the station. And we've done a complete, using our own staff right now, not an additional cost at all. We have gone through and done a complete inspection of that station, identified all the things that we need to correct, and a lot of them our staff can do. So it doesn't actually, cost us anything other than materials and so forth. So we are well on our way to getting that up to our standards.
Thank you, Mr. Bingham. My curiosity was if we're seeing any surprises that we weren't able to estimate or anticipate going in prior to the acquisition.
We had done a fair amount of work up front in that regard, so we actually had a plan in place so that when we took it over January 1, we moved forward with our plan to implement what we knew, the things that we saw already. And I believe we've been pretty accurate with what we needed to do.
Councilman, I just want to reiterate that, what Miles said. When we started this process, when the Pontchartrain Levy District approached us about taking the station, the first thing we said was, we're going to back up, we're going to hire a third party to come in and do a top-to-bottom review of the station. That was performed, that gave us some really good indications of capital improvements that needed to be made. We additionally walked through with all of our maintenance staff from top to bottom. That also helped us identify things like the telemetry and other things that we would need to bring the station up to our standard. And that's how we developed our negotiating number with Pontchartrain Levy District that ultimately led to our agreement.
Well, thank you, and I'm very encouraged to hear that the telemetry is right up front. Being able to operate those stations or that station remotely is a tremendous thing. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilman Pilier. Councilwoman Wilson.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. I have two questions. The first question, and I know we have spoken several times about the bike path, but I have several residents from Kelowna and the new residents that are moving in Pretty Acres. So they're asking about the bike path. What's the status on the bike path? Because I do know St. John Parish last week had a groundbreaking for their bike path. So I'm just wondering, what's the status? Because I am getting several questions on the bike path.
Thank you, Councilwoman. I've spoken to the Corps as recently as about a month ago on this issue. This project, and I forget the name of the program that it goes through, they have acronyms for literally everything. But the program that it went under was allowed the Corps to do the design work on, or pay for the design work. And part of what we are doing and what they have been working on for us is restarting that project. In 2017, for some reason, through failure to respond by the parish, the project was dropped off of that project with the Corps of Engineers. And so, as you can imagine, getting it restarted has been somewhat of a challenge, especially through all the other disasters and everything that have happened over the past few years. But they have assured me that they are working to get that project reestablished. We'd like to pick up the engineering right where it left off. We had about 60% design. We'd like to pick that off. As you know, I think this is, as far as the entire levee system goes, this is probably the most complex area. Dow and some of the other chemical plants in that area have stated that they want to help us achieve this. Our biggest obstacle is Waterford 3, just due to the requirements, not from them. I think they would love to do it if they could, but the NRC and what they require because of the water intake and the water discharge into the river there. So I believe that there is a solution that's available. I think we're going to have to come off of the river, go down to the road. It'll be basically where the road is, where this bike path is, and how far and that we have to be from Intergy and Intergy Waterford 3's assets there.
Okay, all right, thanks. And one more question. On the park improvements, what's the status on the Keller Park improvement?
Darren, I know you're here. I know we're looking at playground equipment. We're also looking at a bathroom that we can bring in to that. I think right now we're working on a layout for that park. For the bathroom, we know we use the larger stadium for soccer and football. So figuring out where we can place the bathroom, where it can be utilized by both the park, the residents who attend the park, but also for the people who are attending games at the stadium is really important. And then I think we are working to get a playground equipment option that we can send to you that you would be amenable to.
Thank you, Councilwoman Wilson. Councilwoman O'Daniels.
Thank you, Madam Chair. President Jewell, could you slow up a bit on those St. Rose pump station improvements and kind of repeat what you said in your report about the engine upgrades, and then there's a delay on moving the circuit panel?
No, so it's all a part of the same projects. It's like a reliability improvement in the station. So right now they're rebuilding one of the diesel engines that is currently at the station. I believe there's a smaller electric motor that runs at about 800 RPMs. They're going to upgrade that motor to be able to run at 1,200 RPMs. So being able to move more water. As a part of that project, the improvements will also be made to the panels. We've had several instances, and as you know, water is on 4th Street, 1st Street, 2nd Street, all those streets is flowing to the back. It's pooling at that station. That station's having a hard time getting it all out when the station gets overwhelmed. We've literally had issues where the panels, due to where they're placed, become inundated in water, and that caused them to trip. So part of what we're doing is we're going to raise them 3 feet higher, keep them out of floodwaters, keep that station running, because we're not going to allow, we're certainly not going to allow an employee to go out, stand in water, and flip a circuit breaker. I don't think that's a recipe for a good time.
Well, we spoke about this project in the fall last year, so you said there was some kind of supply issue?
Yeah, lead time on most of our equipment has been a lot longer than we anticipated. And part of what we're doing, we do a lot of this building in-house. So the same folks who are working on our telemetry systems are also working on, building these panels and whatnot. So it's availability of supplies, also availability of manpower, but we just wanted to provide the council that those improvements are going to be made. You can see in the photos there that we did have the crane out there removing the motors and getting the station, improved.
All right, thank you for that clarification.
All right, thank you, Councilwoman O'Daniels. Ordinances, resolutions introduced for publication, public hearing, Monday, February 25th, 2025, 6 p.m., Council Chambers, Courthouse in Hornville. 2025-0019, 2025-0020, 2025-0021, 2025-0022, 2025-0024, 2025-0025, 2025-0026, 2025-0027, 2025-0028, 2025-0029, 2025-0030, 2025-0031, 2025-0032, 2025-0033, and 2025-0034. Ordinances scheduled for public hearing introduced at the previous meeting. 2025-0005, an ordinance to approve the usage of Special Revenue Fund 123 flood protection to pay for electrical utilities, fuel, parish water, debris disposal, repair parts, third-party repair services, to include parts and labor, and other maintenance items associated with the operation of the pump stations located on the parish's outer flood protection levee system. Parish labor associated with operations and repairs will not be paid out of the Special Revenue 123 fund. Mr. Bingham.
I'm going to defer this one to Mr. Jewell because I believe he
Okay.
wants it deferred.
Yeah, we're going to ask to table this motion. I'll give the council, out of transparency, a little background on this. As you know, we've just acquired Cross Bayou Station. We made changes in last year's budget to allocate some of our 123 funds towards O&M of outer levee pump stations. We felt like this was important based off of where we are with future levee projects. We're somewhat nearing the end of some of those projects. Obviously, we know there's future maintenance and costs associated with it. We believe that this move was a good thing for our public works because it frees up a significant amount of money to go towards other projects within the parish, and make sure that we have the revenue in place to sustain our outer pump stations at the highest possible reliability level. Working with Mr. Sam, he wanted to kind of codify which stations those were and what we were going to do. So we made the ordinance and we introduced it. We had some ancillary conversations and as well as some conversations with some of the council members about whether or not it was needed. And we decided that based off of the current millage language, which I think you might have just stated in the beginning, or I can state it here. We believe that, that the language is strong enough, that the voters passed, that this extra ordinance is not necessary and could actually cause confusion in the future. We don't want to do that, so we are going to let the millage language speak for itself, and therefore we'd like to table this indefinitely. Thanks.
Okay, Parish President Jewell, thank you. I just wanted to clarify, the request that we had received was to postpone it indefinitely.
Yes, I said table, but postpone definitely. Thank you.
Okay, just wanted to make sure. Thank you. The administration has requested for file number 2025-0005 to be postponed indefinitely. File number 2025-0005 is now open for public hearing. If there's anyone who would like to come up and speak regarding this item, please do so now. Please state your name and address for the record, and you have 3 minutes to speak. Okay, seeing none, public hearing is closed. Any council discussion? Okay, seeing none, a motion and a second are needed to postpone indefinitely file number 2025-0005. We have a motion by Councilmember Fisher and a second by Councilwoman Wilson. Please cast your votes to postpone indefinitely file number 2025-0005. And that passes unanimously. File number 2025-0006, an ordinance approving and authorizing the execution of Amendment Number 1 to Ordinance Number 22-1-2, which approved a professional services agreement with EJES, Inc. to perform engineering services for Kindler and Paul Frederick roadway and drainage improvements, project number P210704, in the amount not to exceed $358,896, increasing the overall contract amount to $744,851. Mr. Bingham.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This one, the streets of Kindler and Paul Frederick between Hackberry and Brooklyn have routinely experienced significant flooding, resulting in the road being impassable for long periods of time. Flooding has also caused significant degradation to the roadway surface and the base material of the roadway. We did the topographic survey, the geotechnical work, and some of the preliminary design on this project. And what we found was that we needed to put in some intermediate cross drains to go to the back ditch behind Kindler as part of as the first phase of this project. So what we looked at is, after that design work, was establishing 3 phases for this project. The first one being the mid-block design of those cross drains, which we have been working on getting servitudes on. And then 2 others, one to do the drainage to tie the street drainage into those cross drains, and the third one being the actual restoration of the roadway surface itself. And we're taking it in that format because they follow each other. So on this, we are asking for this to change the contract and provide the money upfront for this so that when we finish one design, we can continue on with the other one without coming back to the council. We'd appreciate your support for this. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bingham. File number 2025-0006 is now open for public hearing. If there is anyone who would like to come up and speak regarding this item, please do so now. Please state your name and address for the record, and you will have 3 minutes to speak. Seeing none, public hearing is closed. Any council discussion? Councilman Pillier.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Bingham, I noticed in the project schedule, I think I understand what you're trying to do, consolidate it so you don't have to come back. But it says in Phase 2 and Phase 3, to be determined, this is schedule-wise, once Phase 1 is complete. But if I add up all the enumerated days, it comes out like to 330 total days for Phase 1, which I'm going to assume the 150 days of design, bidding, et cetera, and survey. I suspect there's not much left of that. After that 150 days, you'll proceed with Phase 2, and then you'll go on for Phase 3. You're not going to wait for the construction of Phase 1 to complete before you start?
That's correct. We will immediately go into designing Phase 2, and then Phase 3. It's just, this way we get Phase 1, we can get it out on the street, we can give these people some relief in that area by getting some of that water out of the mid-block, which is one of the major problems that they have. The water gets hung up mid-block. And then while we're constructing that one, we'll be working on Phase 2, yes.
Thank
And
you
then
very
on to
much.
Phase 3.
Okay, thank you, Councilman Pilier. Councilwoman Wilson?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Miles, thank you for all of the work that you have done and also the legal department as well. My question is, I'm thinking about the Paul Frederick, the streets. So the scope has the roadway surface will be milled and overlaid. So is this Kendler Street or is this the fixing of Paul Frederick as well?
Okay, so on Paul Frederick, we have two situations. We have some areas that have actually failed. Those will have to be actually taken out, rebuilt, put new base in. And then there are parts of it that can be milled and overlaid. So we will do a combination of those processes on each of those streets as needed. So some areas will need to be reconstructed from the base down, solidify the base and then build the road back up. And some will be able to be milled and overlaid because they're still in reasonable condition that we can do that.
Okay, so will it be Phase 1, 2, or 3? Or it's pretty much going to be a combination of all phases?
Well, there's going to be some roadway repair when we put the cross drains across Paul Frederick localized.
Okay,
But for the most part, the roadway work will be done last because doing it before we do any of the other work,
is going, okay.
yeah, it may fail again.
Okay, all righty. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman Wilson. Any other council discussion? Seeing none, please cast your votes for file number 2025-0006. And that passes unanimously. File number 2025-0007, an ordinance approving and authorizing the execution of change order number 1, final, for the St. Charles Parish First Floor Courthouse renovation, project number N0-GBCH023, to decrease the contract amount by $42,706 and increase the contract time by 11 days. Mr. Messerly.
Yeah, this is the final deal for the courthouse. It's the first floor. It's finished now. We got everything down to the end, so if there's any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Thank you, Mr. Messerly. File number 2025-0007 is now open for public hearing. If there is anyone who would like to come up and speak regarding this item, please do so now. Please state your name and address for the record, and you have 3 minutes to speak. Seeing none, public hearing is closed. Any council discussion? Seeing none, please cast your votes for file number 2025-0007. And that passes unanimously. Thank you, Mr. Messerly. File number 2025-0008, an ordinance to rescind ordinance number 24-10-4 and lease a .31 acre property for replacement parking over property now or formerly owned by S-1 Properties LLC for the Ormond Area Flood Mitigation CN Railroad Culvert Installation Project, P200-801. Mr. Bingham.
Yes, I'm going to let Mr. Oob handle this one for us since it's a lease of property. Thank you.
Okay.
Yes, thank you. As indicated in the ordinance previously, in October of last year, the council approved the purchasing or expropriation of the property. The administration has since been able to enter into a lease agreement. That's the need for the rescission of the old ordinance. As indicated on page 194 of the agenda, the lease agreement sets forth the terms and conditions for this property. Specifically, it is leasing the property for an upfront 24-month term with an additional 1-year term with the payment up front. We've negotiated this with the landowner. Both the legal department and Civic Source did the negotiations. We've had it pre-approved for the grant funding, and everything is in line. If there's any questions, I'll be glad to answer any. With regard to the specific need for the property, I'll defer to Mr. Bingham as to what's needed to be done on this property.
All right, thank you, Mr. Oob. Do you want to elaborate on that now, or just wait?
I can.
Okay.
What we've got is we have two businesses that we are impacting their parking as we do the construction of this project. We are leasing this property to locate a parking facility. It's right across the street from where they are located. So we will improve the parking and then return it to its natural condition after we finish.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Bingham, Mr. Oob. File number 2025-0008 is now open for public hearing. If there is anyone who would like to come up and speak regarding this item, please do so now. Please state your name and address for the record, and you have 3 minutes to speak. Seeing none, public hearing is closed. Any council discussion? Councilman Pilier.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This one's pretty close to my heart, if not close to my house. And and I hear every time I walk down the street and see a neighbor, when is this going to happen? These Jackson bores that are going across the CN railroad tracks. So this is one step of many to get this project underway. And I've kept on top of it personally with Mr. Bingham, with the parish president, with the CAO, and I'm happy to say that I'm glad to see some sort of movement on this. So thank goodness, and I support it.
Thank you, Councilman Pilier. Any other council discussion? Seeing none, please cast your votes for file number 2025-0008. And that passes unanimously. File number 2025-0009, an ordinance to approve and authorize the parish president to execute a franchise agreement with Entergy Louisiana LLC, formerly known as Louisiana Power and Light, its successors and assigns, to provide electric power and energy throughout St. Charles Parish, all in accordance with Louisiana Revised Statute 33:4361. Mr. Oob.
Yes, currently the parish has a franchise agreement with Louisiana Power and Light, which is set to expire, I believe, September 7th of this year of 2025. It was a 99-year franchise agreement. Entergy representatives are here to discuss the need for this agreement and the reason for the request for such a duration of time. President Drew was going to speak about this before he had to leave. The need for the 99-year agreement, of course, is to have stability for the parish and to have a mutual understanding between the parties. That way the necessary infrastructure and investments can happen with Entergy. President Drew did want me to relay that he has spoken with the Public Service Commissioner with regard to the standards that are applied to Entergy in this situation. One of the other options, I know there was some concern and discussions about the 99-year time frame. One option that was discussed with the Public Service Commission, which the council wants to consider, is doing things such as a possible 3 30-year terms with automatic renewals if you don't cancel within a certain amount of time, such as 6 months. The legal department is able, if the council needs us to rework some of those tools if they don't agree to the 99-year term. I do like the duration of 30 years, but at least 3 consecutive terms, which gets you close to the 99 years with the automatic renewal, so you don't have to come back to council every time. So if there's any questions I need to answer with regard to those negotiations and with the discussions President Jewell had with the Public Service Commission, I'll be glad to do so.
Thank you, Mr. Oob. We have a motion on the floor from Councilman Pilier and a second from Councilwoman O'Daniels to postpone this matter indefinitely. So I'm going to go to public hearing. File number 2025-0009 is open for public hearing. If there's anyone who would like to come up and speak regarding this item, please do so now. Please state your name and address for the record, and you have 3 minutes to speak. Seeing none, oh, excuse me, go ahead. I'm on a roll.
So just to be clear,
Your name and address, please.
yeah, I'm Joseph Coco. I'm at 40 Melrose Drive.
Okay.
Just to be clear, this is not about postponing this matter. I'm talking based on this matter, correct?
So the motion is to postpone this matter indefinitely.
Okay, I don't have any comments on postponing the
that-
matter indefinitely. That sounds great to me.
Okay, okay. Thank you. Anyone else would like to speak regarding this item? Please do so now. Please state your name and address for the record, and you have 3 minutes to speak. Okay, seeing none, public hearing is now closed. Any council discussion? Speak to. It's okay. Councilman Pilier.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I was approached by Mr. Coco, so I'll say what his concerns were, various revised statutes and such, some that we ran down. We did look at the type of information he sent, so I really believe, and I was also questioned myself, a 99-year agreement. But as it turned out, the parish president and the legal staff went through the requirements and came up with an option that I think is very good, and it's good for the public, and I think it satisfies Mr. Coco's concerns as well, correct? And I support it. Thank you.
Any other council discussion? Councilwoman O'Daniels.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I think what we're trying to say is that we want a moment to rework a little bit of the contract in accordance with shortening the term perhaps, but I don't think that necessarily addressed all of Mr. Coco's questions. Those can be addressed at a later time when this is reintroduced. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman O'Daniels. All right, a motion and a second are needed to postpone indefinitely file number 2025-0009. We have a motion from Councilman Pilier, a second from Councilwoman O'Daniels. Please cast your votes to postpone indefinitely file number 2025-0009. And that passes unanimously. Ordinances and resolutions which have been tabled. Does anyone want to remove the file from the table? All right, seeing none. File number 2024-0425. Oh, I'm sorry, excuse me. Resolutions. File number 2025-0016, a resolution supporting the application for funding of the DeSalmans Bulkhead Phase 2 project through the Louisiana Office of Community Development's fiscal year 2024-2025 Local Government Assistance Program. Ms. Shessel.
Good evening. So this year's allocation from the local government assistance program for all the parishes in Louisiana is $300,000. So we took a look at the eligible projects and determined that the DeSalmans Bulkhead project is going to fit the timeline for the grant. So we are going to apply for that, and we need a council resolution in support for the application. So if you have any questions, let me know.
Thank you, Ms. Shessel. File number 2025-00016 is now open for public comment. If there's anyone who would like to come up and speak regarding this item, please do so now. Please state your name and address for the record, and you have 3 minutes to speak. Seeing none, public comment is closed. Any council discussion? Seeing none, please cast your votes for file number 2025-00016. That passes unanimously. File number 2025-0017, a resolution supporting the application for funding of the water meter replacement project, Phase 6, through the Louisiana Office of Community Development's fiscal year 2024-2025 Community Water Enrichment Fund. Ms. Chasson.
Thank you. So the state has also allocated $350,000 through the Community Water Enrichment Fund to parishes in Louisiana. We are going to continue the water meter register replacement through this next phase, and it looks like we'll be able to do substantially more with this one. So if you have any questions, let me know. We're still in the same phase with the application and need a resolution. So thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Chasson. File number 2025-0017 is now open for public comment. If there is anyone who would like to come up and speak regarding this item, please do so now. Please state your name and address for the record, and you have 3 minutes to speak. Seeing none, public hearing is closed. Any council discussion? Seeing none, please cast your votes for file number 2025-0017. That passes unanimously. File number 2025-0018, a resolution endorsing waivers from Appendix C subdivision regulations of 1981, Section 3, geometric standards, B, blocks, 3, arrangement, and E, building lines, as requested by the Semino Family Land LLC. Mr. Albert.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is a minor subdivision creating 2 new lots. Lot 15 requires a waiver for building lines due to existing construction situations. Lot 42 requires a frontage waiver and takes an access servitude from the street. The department recommends approval, and the Planning Commission approved the plats contingent upon the waivers here tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Albert. File number 2025-0018 is now open for public comment. If there is anyone who would like to come up and speak regarding this item, please do so now. Please state your name and address for the record, and you have 3 minutes to speak. Seeing none, public comment is closed. Any council discussion? Seeing none, please cast your votes for file number 2025-0018. And that passes unanimously. Meetings, announcements, notices, etc. Meetings, Civil Service Board, Tuesday, February 11th, 2025 at 6:30 p.m. in the council chambers. Pontchartrain Levy District, Monday, February 17th, 2025 at 6 p.m. Pontchartrain Levy District Headquarters Complex, 2069 Railroad Avenue in Letcher. Board of Adjustments, ZBA, Thursday, February 20th, 2025 at 6 p.m. in the council chambers. St. Charles Parish Council, Monday, February 24th, 2025 at 6 p.m. in the council chambers. Announcements. Crew of Months Parade, Saturday, February 22nd, 2025 at 10 a.m. in Months. Important dates for the Louisiana Constitutional Amendments and Special District 6 Justice of the Peace, March 29th, 2025 election. Wednesday, February 26, 2025, last day to register to vote in person or by mail. Saturday, March 8, 2025, last day to register to vote online at govote.com. Early voting, Saturday, March 15, 2025, closed on Sunday, March 16, 2025, Monday, March 17, 2025 to Saturday, March 22, 2025. 8:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. on the West Bank at the courthouse, 15045 River Road in Hornville, and on the East Bank at the Arterbury Building, 14564 River Road in New Sarpy. Tuesday, March 25th, 2025 is the last day to request absentee by mail ballots. Friday, March 28th, 2025 is the last day for the registrar to receive voted absentee ballots. Saturday, March 29th, 2025, Election Day, is Election Day at 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. Adjournment. A motion and a second are needed to adjourn. Got a motion by Councilwoman O'Daniels, a second by Councilman Commerdale. Please cast your votes to adjourn. And that passes unanimously. Have a great evening. We are officially adjourned.